All right, today we're going to look at solving quadratic equations with the factoring method. Now, this is by far the easiest method if you can do it. You can't always do it. That goes along with the square root method, which I'm going to hint at today also. Well, I'm going to show you how to do the square root method as well. So I'll show you both methods, mainly focusing on the factoring method. All right, so let's get right to my problem set here. First thing I want to do is define what is a quadratic equation. It has an x squared in it. It has an x squared in it. And it's going to have two sides. You have a left side and a right side with an equal in the middle. That's what makes it an equation. So when solving, so we finally get to solve some things. Lately we've just been factoring and simplifying and doing all that kind of toolbox stuff, building up our algebra toolbox to get more things in it. Well, now we're going to put those to work. We'll actually solve some equations. So when solving a quadratic equation, you must always set it equal to 0. So if you need to write the word 0 or whatever there, but it needs to be equal to 0 in order for us to solve. Now, there's one other thing that I don't have on this document that I want us to squeeze in here. So what I want you to do is, if a times b equals 0, so I'd like you to write that. If a times b equals 0, then, now wait for me here, stick with me here, let me get rid of it for a moment. Riddle me this. I'm thinking of two numbers and they multiply to be 0. Let me say that again. I'm thinking of two numbers and they multiply to be 0. What are the numbers? Well, I think you would agree if the two numbers multiply to be 0, then one of them has to be 0. One of them has to be 0. So a equals 0 or b equals 0 is a solution here. One or both of them has to equal 0. This is called the zero product property, and we're going to use this to solve quadratic equations using the factoring method. So let's take a look here. Sorry about the texting here. Let me turn that down. All right, so in number one it says x squared plus 10x plus 16 equals 0. This is called a quadratic equation. You see how it has a left side and it has a right side. It has an equal in the middle, and I've already got this set up for us where it's equal to 0. Well, here's how we do this. It's just in a couple steps. You factor first. So factor first. So you've spent a lot of time learning how to factor. So it's riddle me this, what multiplies to be 16 but combines to be that middle term, 10. What multiplies to be 16 and adds up to 10 is 8 and 2. So you factor first, then you use the zero product property. You set equal to 0. So x plus 8 is going to be equal to 0, and x plus 2 equals 0 could be another solution. We actually find two solutions here in this quadratic equation. Then solve. So we subtract 8 on both sides, we get x equals negative 8 is one of the answers. If we subtract 2, we get x equals negative 2 as the other half of the answer. There, we're done. We just found two answers that if you go back and plug it in, you could try it. Plug them in up here and they're going to work. All right. For example, if you plug negative 2 in, you would get negative 2 squared is 4 minus 20 plus 16. Does that equal 0? Why, yes it does. See how it works if you plug it in. You could do the same thing with negative 8 and it will also work. Let's go over here to number 2. What's different here? It's not set equal to 0. So we have a toolbox for that. We have an algebra toolbox where we can get rid of that negative 18 and get it to the other side. So what do? We add 18 on both sides. X squared minus 9x plus 18 equals 0. Now what do? We factor it. And this would be x and x. It's either 18 and 1, 6 and 3, 9 and 2. That's the only way you're going to make 18. And of course, 6 and 3 add up to be negative 9. Negative 6, negative 3. So you set each one to 0. So you get x equals 6 is one of the answers. If you add 3, well, let me set it equal to 0 first. I get a little ahead of myself here. X minus 3 equals 0. If you add 3 on both sides, you get x equals 3. So we get two answers, plug them in and try it. You're going to get negative 18 in this original equation with both of those numbers. So that's pretty cool. That's called the factoring method. This number 3 is a little bit more of a challenge because of this 3 in the front. First thing, of course, I always have to do, as I said at the beginning of these notes, is get everything to one side. So 3x squared minus 11x minus 4 equals 0. You then factor this. This one's a little more difficult, and I've got lots of factoring videos on how to factor stuff like this. You can use the algorithm. It's one of my most popular videos. Or you could just guess and check it. I mean, there's only one way to make 4, right? Or I'm sorry, 2 ways, 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. So you can just try them in all the different ways. And I think if you put the minus 4 here and the plus 1 here, you see on the outside how you get negative 12x, and on the inside you get positive 1x. And if you add those together, you get your negative 11 that we want. So that's the combination that works. You then solve it. Now be careful on this first one. 3x plus 1 equals 0. A lot of students have troubles with this because they don't show their work. So if we subtract 1, divide by 3, you see x equals negative 1/3 is one of the answers. So we actually get a fraction on that one. And then the other one, of course, is x equals 4. So there's your 2 answers on this slightly more difficult factoring equation, but not too hard. All right, number 4, this is the one where I'm going to use a square root. I could do the factoring method. If I were using the factoring method, I would get x plus 5, x minus 5 equals 0. So x equals plus 5 and minus 5, positive and negative 5. However, honestly, I wouldn't really think about it this way. Maybe all the other teachers in the universe do, and that's fine because as long as you're using a valid method, you're going to get the right answer. Personally, I would use a square root. So let me show you how I do that. I have x squared minus 25 equals 0. X squared equals 25. So I actually add the 25 to get it to the other side. And then, what times itself is 25? And you're probably saying 5, and you're right. But if you hit it with a square root on both sides, you always have to remember to keep track of 2 possibilities, the plus and the minus. So we get our 2 answers, and notice that's the same as what we got a moment ago over here. So either way is great. I like to use a square root. How do you know when to use a square root? There's no middle term. If there's no middle term, I use a square root. Again, you could use the difference of squares factoring, but this square root method works great. All right, we got 2 more examples here is all. You might want to pause the video and try these 2 problems right now. Numbers 5 and 6, pause the video, and I'll give you the answers. All right, 3, 2, 1, here we go. This one factors into x minus 4, x plus 3 equals 0. So x equals 4 and x equals negative 3 are the 2 answers. Those are called the zeros. They're also called the solutions, of course, here. They're zeros because they cause this left side to spit out 0. That's why they're called a 0. Notice I've just changed the sign. You've probably seen that and all the others. All right, number 6. This one I would not use factoring. I would use a square root. Hit it with both sides, and the answers, plural, are plus or minus 10. Plus or minus 10. Plus or minus 10. All right, well, I really hope that you found this video useful and that you are ready to tackle the quadratic equations with either the factoring or the square root methods. They are the easiest by far once you get there. All right, well, until next time.